Take two. My guest this week, Jamie Lynn Spears, is unfortunately preoccupied filtering her hateful Instagram comments. So instead, we have my sister Kamala stepping in for this week's episode of You Don't Know. On this week's episode, we'll be talking about Sailor Moon Eternal, Part 1 and 2, the new Netflix movies available now on Netflix. Because you may think you know, but you don't know. Let's get into it. First of all, spoiler alert. I don't think it's a spoiler alert. You had to watch season 3 to get to here, so not a spoiler.
Although I feel like there probably are people who jumped straight to.
Okay, well, this isn't even that big of a spoiler.
Oh, no. I don't see a problem with it. Like, I think you should come in prepared. If you don't know, now you know.
Well, now you know. So let me just give a quick history. I'm not even going to give a history. The last episode of Sailor Moon season 3, Crystal season 3. So Sailor Moon gives all the Sailor Scouts new powers. And it's like, oh, her uniforms are transforming. And I'm not kidding you. All what happens is that they add a little bit of chiffon to their sleeves. And I think
I had to search. I was like, what changed?
Like, I had to keep going back and forth and like, what is changing? And I was like, oh, it's that clear like chiffon thing that's like whatever. So I assume that means that they got stronger and had new powers. But then we start the season with all of a sudden no one has powers. So I'm like, but what happened at the I thought whatever. I didn't get it. So not that it matters, but can we confirm that before season 3 they were super sailors? Or were they just super Sailor Moon and they were still regular sailors?
I think they were all regular sailors, and I think Sailor Moon only became a super sailor in season 3.
Yeah. Okay. So we start off the episode with Chippy Yuza wanting to go back home to the future, and then but there's eclipse, and then so then they're like, oh, let's watch the eclipse, and then when the eclipse happens, they see this floating ship saying the Dead Moon Circus has arrived, and Chippy Yuza can't go back because there's too many people, so they plan to go the next day. But everyone else is getting like a really eerie feeling, especially Ray, that something bad's happening. Then what happens? Oh, then she wakes up. And oh, wait. Okay, can we? This isn't the first time that Usagi has spent the night at Mamo's house. Are we? I thought I could have sworn. Okay, correct me in the comments, read me, drag me, whatever. I could have sworn that the Japanese culture is very much like, no. You're not sleeping over at your boyfriend's house when you're in middle school, let alone any school, even if you're an adult. But like, it's like she calls her mom, like, yeah, I'm spending the night at Mamo's, bye. So it's like, we can assume that they've done it, right? Like, that's a safe assumption.
I don't know, also though, because Chibi Yusa is also always there with them. So.
Okay, fine, whatever.
But
anyways, she wakes up. Chibi Yusa decides to like not wake the others, and then goes back to tries to go back to the future, but unfortunately, her time key's not working because there's a barrier around the city, so she can't get out. But the Dead Moon Circus folks recognize the power surge and think something's up.
Then what happens next? Oh, and then we just get introduced to them all. I don't even remember their names. I'm the worst at remembering names.
Okay, well, you should. They're the Amazon Quartet.
Yes, okay, but I can't remember all their names. One's name's Juno. One's named...
No, okay. No one is named Juno.
Yeah.
No.
I swear it is.
It's June.
No, I swear later on she...
Oh, wait, maybe it is Juno.
Yeah, I'm like, there's one.
Okay. Right, okay. But I think that's at the end, which we won't get to.
Oh, when you reveal their real names.
Yes.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Okay, so there's Seer, the pink-haired one, Pala, the blue-haired one, June, who's the green-haired, kind of like, I guess, I didn't even recognize it, but yeah, kind of like Sailor Jupiter, kind of tomboyish. And then Vesfest or Bezu. No, Vesfest, which is the red hair one.
I think they're still in for the crystal. The golden crystal, that doesn't come until later, right?
Yeah. Yusa has a dream of riding Helios, who is a Pegasus, and Helios gives her a bell, telling her to ring it if she ever needs him, and that he needs the golden crystal to save Elysion, which we'll find out later is like this kind of almost like an Avalon sort of thing, like the sacred city of Earth. Both Chippy Yusa and Usagi find these kaleidoscopes at the market that Mamo buys for them, which ends up uh, well, I guess Helios put it there for them to find it, right?
Yeah, he said it called to you.
Although, why wouldn't he? Like, how much did he pay for that? Like, why wouldn't you just give it to them? I don't understand. Um, so yeah. So anyways, when Chippy Yusa tries to return to the 30th century, the barrier stops her. But then the Amazon Quartet is alerted to it. So th- was it a bear or a tiger? What was
It was
it?
a tiger. It
A
was a
tiger.
tiger.
Yes. So a tiger starts coming. And then both Usagi and Chippy use the brooches are like kind of upgraded, allowing them to transform into Super Sailor Moon and Super Sailor Chippy Moon. But they like the two of them defeat I forget what they're called. Honestly, they're called lemurs, not demons. But anyways, they defeat the monster.
Yeah.
And then Mamoru faints from pain in his chest, and this one I just didn't understand why. Wait, is it now that they switch ages, or is that later
Oh,
on?
they do. They do
But
switch.
but but
Well, because they all talk about what their dreams are, like what their hopes and
oh
stuff
yeah,
are.
so like Chippy Yusa looks up to Usagi and says that she's so amazing and stuff. And yes. And then the ringleader of the quartet, Zirconia, is instructed by Queen Nehellenia? What's her name? Actually, you know what? They are switched at ages. Yeah, so Usagi and Chippy Yusa ages are switched. Anyways, what happens next is this is the part that where I'm just like, okay, can we fast forward this?
Oh yeah, it
It's
was a
like,
lot taken a
okay,
movie.
so again, ending it that Sailor Moon in season 3 released the light of the Holy Grail uh and her crystal and upgraded all these Sailor Scouts, but for some reason they aren't able to transform or use their powers. So Amy, Ray, we're not gonna get into details. Amy, Ray, Makato, and like so Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter. They all encounter someone that kind of attacks them and like while trying to take their dreams away. But they kind of break free from that illusion, realizing that their real dream is to help Sailor Moon and to be a Sailor Scout and to be brave. So they encounter kind of like their mini what do you call it, spirit, I guess, of their Sailor Scouts,
Mhm.
telling them to believe in their dreams, and then they each are able to transform. And I assume that this is when they officially transform into Super Sailors.
I
Um,
assume so.
yes, and then they all get new powers. And then they think that it's time to check out the circus. And Sailor Venus is unable to transform, and she gets lured into one of the circus events or tents, and the Amazoness Vesves sends those like kind of two knife throwing twins after her. And then of course there's drama of like, oh, you can't really transform, but she didn't tell them. And then anyway, she runs off, and Artemis becomes a human to save her. Long story. Eventually, Sailor Venus is able to transform and defeat the monsters.
But then they all get captured.
But then Paula traps the four Sailor Guardians into like these vines. I think Chippy Yusa and Usagi are kind of like alerted like telepathically that they're in trouble, so they kind of run after them. Back up, rewind. Mamo is having chest pains because
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
I
black
feel
rose
sorry.
in his heart that's sucking his energy. It's all part of Elysium because Elysium's dying. Therefore, his tie to the power of Earth is Elysium. Because Elysium's dying, he's kind of dying with a black rose inside of him, or like a virus sort of thing in his lungs. Usagi ends up catching the same kind of black rose in her as well. and then she yeah like she falls ill but kind of runs after the scouts. So but then Zirconia kind of I guess is it the entire world or maybe city? She covers the entire Earth in like darkness or like nightmare energy, she calls it.
Mhm.
And then in a post-credit scene, Sailor Saturn is shown speaking with Hotaru, saying that the second coming is at hand. Which, by the way, if you're watching on Netflix, it will cut to part two before you get to see that because it's that like you have to not it'll say play next and it'll play part two while the credits are still rolling. So that's why you have to stop that and fast forward the credits to see that post credit scene. What did you think of part one?
Part one, I mean, it was necessary. It was setting things up, especially because season 3 was so long ago,
But
too.
was it necessary? I didn't see the point of like, okay, the first time it was cute, the second time fine, but like after like Mikado like Sarah Jupiter is like, oh my god, are we gonna go through each Sailor Scout like doing this nonsense?
But the
Like,
way I see it is like, think of the fact how normally in a season, everyone Sailor Scout does get upgraded and they each get their own episode. And they
okay,
do
but do I need to know that? Can't you just tell me that? Oh, Rain has Fire Sniper now, and like Amy has like Mercury has Aqua Rhapsody. It's like, do I need 20 minutes for each Sailor Scout, or couldn't you just combo two? Couldn't you combo two of them together? Like, you know what I mean? I just felt like that. Like
No,
I would,
I agree. I
yeah.
do, but at the same time, it's like it's something you come to expect. If this was the season, it would have literally been a single episode for each single one of them. So I'm like, oh, at least this
But
was
I would
like
have been
an
fine.
hour.
Yeah, if it was a season. But that's the thing is that it would have been fine if it was a season. Like fine, give like devote that much time to one episode. But that's what it felt like. It felt like four episodes being pushed
Yeah,
into this like 1 hour movie or yeah, I guess like it was like 120 or whatever hours. But
yeah.
it's like yeah, like I just found that to be a bit annoying. Okay, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. Chippy Yusa is kind of annoying. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
okay, and part of the reason why they said they wanted to make this a movie was that this was kind of like the most poorly rated season of the 90s original because they felt it was too fluffy because it was very much Chippy Yusa centric with her and Pegasus and Dreams and stuff. And they
Mhm.
felt and I think that fans didn't really appreciate that. But and actually so I will say that this like part one, it's not like it doesn't focus on Chippy Yusa and Pegasus as much as the 90s original. Like I don't know if you remember that season.
This
Um,
arc I remember probably the least from the 90s original.
okay. Well,
But I believe it though. I believe that, yeah.
yeah. Well, it's just like sometimes it's like, okay, you're from the future. Like you know that like don't be jealous that Sailor Moon has power because you know that she's like the ultimate power in your future. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when Chippy Yusa transforms into uh, uh super Chippy Moon, she gets a new attack, which is Pink Sugar Heart attack.
Mhm.
Do you want to know how many times it works? Never. It never lands. I forget the first. I think both times it was sucked into a vortex where it didn't work or got spun off, but it never once landed. Where I'm like,
Yeah, and it's weird that it's always the final, like, try they're gonna do. Like, every other Sailor Scout has tried, and it's like, "Oh, no, maybe her attack will work." And it's like, "Really? You think yours is gonna
yeah,
be the one?"
exactly.
So, I mean, at least I'll give them credit. They had it not work because I'm like, "Okay, she's not even a full-fledged Sailor Scout really yet." So, like, if you're telling me this was the best move, but
Yeah.
so but yeah, it does work a total of 0 times. Yeah.
So there you go. I'll just set the stage for part two. So in season three, Sailor Saturn, known as the Guardian of Destruction, awakens and is about to destroy the Earth. Wait, okay, wait, no. Remind me of something to say about that. So she's awakened in season three because Master Pharaoh 90 has taken over and like it's spreading over the world and she's awakened whenever there's a time of crisis and her goal is to destroy the planet or the I guess the universe really and kind of reboot it to give a second chance. And that's what she did at the Moon Kingdom. Like when the Moon Kingdom fell, she was awakened then, and she did her Death Reborn revolution, which caused the rebirth of like history to kind of reboot itself in hopes that things will be different. So she's awakened at the end of season 3. She's about to destroy the world, but then Sailor Moon, who was able to release the Rainbow Moon Chalice and the silver crystal within Pharaoh's 90s body, was able to save the world. So instead, Sailor Saturn drives Pharaoh 90 into like a vortex of nothingness, like the void, and then we find out that she's reborn as a baby, and then the three outer guardians, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, take the little baby and decide to raise her as their own, and that will be their new mission on Earth. So that's how it ends. I understand this is a TV show or a manga or whatever you want to call it. I understand this is not real, but do you remember season 2 when the Dark Moon had literally destroyed the future and was about to like put both the future crystal and the new crystal together, which was supposed to again cause like the ultimate destruction, and then Pluto had to sacrifice herself using time stop to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Where was Sailor Saturn then? Like, I don't know, like, why would you come like?
But Sailor Saturn, I would say, is more extensive, like rebirth, and also you need the 3 outer scouts to put their talismans together as well to call her. And I think they're very afraid of calling her, because even this, where it's kind of like, oh, maybe the world. I wouldn't say they need a reset, but if she's being awakened, they were very hesitant to wake her up. So I think even then, I think Pluto would rather sacrifice herself, have gone through that, versus Saturn resetting everything.
That is a good point. I will take that counter argument.
Okay.
I will buy that. Okay.
That was really sad when Pluto died.
That was
and even when you found out she was stuck there always by herself and she wasn't allowed to leave, it's like, oh, Pluto.
Yes, but then she got rebirthed into our time, or the current timeline.
Yeah.
All good. So long story short, her Taru grows at an accelerated rate. She's super smart, whatever, blah blah blah. She has a vision of Sailor Moon in crisis, which ends up awakening her as Sailor Saturn. So she steps into the room. Oh yeah. Okay. Also, okay. They never explained why the Sailors, like all the Sailor Guardians, lost their ability to transform.
I think it had to do with the eclipse or something.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Because I think it was since the eclipse, they weren't able to. I think.
Okay,
it was
but
that.
why?
I don't know. The darkness, something.
Okay. Anyway, so we find out that Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they also are not able to transform. But anyway, so Taru walks in and gives them their respective crystals. And
there you go. She just gave the crystals. You didn't have to go through that all over again.
Why couldn't we do that for the other ones? And also, when Saturn's just holding on to these crystals, like, hey, you might need this. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Whatever.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. They end up transforming into Super Sailor Uranus, Super Sailor Neptune, and Super Sailor Pluto, who, along with Super Sailor Saturn, end up going to the circus and aiding the trapped Sailor Guardians, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. Okay, rewind. Yes, Chippy Yusa and Usagi switched age or bodies or whatever the heck that was, but it was a mute fact because they transformed once and all of a sudden they were fine. So what was the point of that in part 1? Again, a waste of time.
Yeah,
the story along.
It was a waste. I mean, it kind of like, for the other Sailor Scouts, when they're getting their powers, they all get their fantasy kind of come true as well. And so maybe it was just foreshadowing, a play on that. Like, I agree, it was unnecessary because it was done within a second. There was nothing really came out of it as well. Although I would say there was maybe one moment of, if we care, a moment of like self-discovery for Chippy Yusa there, because she kind of realized, even though she was an adult, like that it didn't change who she was, and like obviously Usagi, she was still with Tuxedo. So I think there was like kind of a moment of that where it's like, okay,
That's me playing Mishiru's violin. I don't care about that sad story. That's
well, I'm
boring.
just saying that might be the one point they were trying to make
And
there.
I'm saying Sailor Chippy Moon, Sailor Moon, and Tuxedo Mask arrive to help, but Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask are wounded by Zirconia, who arrives and kind of retreats the Amazon quartet. And then Helios appears and teleports Usagi and Mamo to Elysion to save their lives with whatever purification power is left in Elysion. Sailor Chippy Moon and Sailor Saturn run off to pursue the Amazon quartet. And no one else gives a no one else cares. It's like everyone else is like surrounded by, it's like you're not caring that your two youngest Sailor Guardians are running off to face 4, possibly 5 villains that trapped whatever.
Yeah.
Screw those. Like, we have other things to worry about. Anyways, inside the tent, Sailor Saturn reveals that the Amazon quartets were corrupted by Nehellenia's nightmare power, and that they're being tricked and deluded. But they're like, no, we were always born this. We were born this way. Cute Lady Gaga. But no. But eventually they kind of start to realize, they kind of start to come to senses like, wait, maybe we are being deceived by Zirconia. Anyways, they get imprisoned into these little orbs and then traps Sailor Chippy Moon and Sailor Saturn into these shards of glass or mirrors.
Yeah, it was like a mirror shards.
Yeah.
I had to rewind for a second there. I'm like, wait, what happened to them? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got to Elysion, and Helios, Pegasus, whatever you want to call him, explains to Usagi Mamoru that the Golden Kingdom used to exist in Elysion, in which Mamo as Endymion was prince, which also, again, rewriting history because I don't believe that was in season 1, but whatever. Was prince, and the golden crystal is Elysion's counterpart to the Silver Millennium's silver crystal. And then Usagi realizes that the golden crystal must be inside Mamo, as the silver crystal was inside her. And then Helios sends Usagi and Mamoru back to the surface, and they're able to transform again. And then Zirconia cast kind of like this fog around the other Sailor Guardian.
Yeah.
But then Helios uses the last of his power to send purifying crystals, which is just just these crystals appear, kind of blocking Zirconia's fog. And apparently,
I don't know what the fog was really doing anyway, so I don't know if it was worth Helios.
It was very hot. It was very hot.
Well, that's like, you're giving up your life. I mean, I know, okay.
Don't have time for a facial. So hot. Yeah, exactly. So he ends up like sacrificing himself for that. I was like, okay, good trick. So Zirconia attacks the Sailor Guardians and Tuxedo Mask, but Sailor Moon follows her into Nehellenia's mirrors, and she releases Chippy Moon and Saturn. And then Saturn.
Okay, Saturn brings them back.
Saturn gets the orbs, but like, okay, so Saturn is like, she like omniscient, like is she all knowing? Like, because she knew. Yeah, Saturn is an interesting one, because I picture Pluto to be the wise kind of like, oh, I foresee, or my intuition, because she's the time space thing. But Saturn seems to have like this intuition of like, she could tell that the Amazon Quartet was being tricked, and like knew who they really were, and also like awakening the other Sailor, like the Elder Sun Guardians. Like, Saturn seems a little kind of mystical, like even surpassing Ray. Like, again, Ray also is like kind of known, like she was pushing the narrative of being like kind of psychic or mystical, but Saturn really seems to step up here. Anyway, so like before Saturn leaves, she grabs the orbs that contains the Amazon Quartet, and Zirconia remains inside the mirror. The Dead Moon Circus disappears, but the darkness remains on Earth. Tuxedo Mask realizes the Dead Moon Circus has teleported to Elysion, and all the Sailor Guardians decide to just teleport there as well to stop the threat. Sailor Moon attacks so then Sailor Moon attacks now heal. Damn it, Kamala.
Oh, and then we get their backstory too. It was very Sleeping Beauty, her backstory.
We'll talk. Okay, I'll tell the backstory, and then we'll talk about the original backstory from the 90s. So Nehellenia arrived for the celebration. So back at the Moon Kingdom, they're celebrating the birth of Princess Serenity, aka Sailor Moon, and Nehellenia, that's her name. Woo, got it. Only took till the end of the episode. Nehellenia arrived for the celebration of Princess Serenity. Even though she wasn't invited, which is just rude, girl. You need to RSVP, you need an invite, you need to get on that guest list, honey, otherwise you're not getting in. She was confronted by Queen Serenity, aka Sailor Moon's mom, and asked to leave if her intentions were malicious. And then like it was very cute to see the young sailor guardians, like they looked cute. That was fun. And they're like, oh yeah, I've heard stories about her. She's like an evil witch or whatever. Anyways, things get a little heated, and then Queen Serenity's like, I don't got time for you, girl, and banishes and seals Nehellenia inside the mirror using the silver crystal. But Nehellenia then curses the princess and the silver millennium to downfall. Wait, what did she say exactly? Well, it doesn't matter. To downfall.
I think she says something about how Princess Serenity will never become queen. Something
like that. Girl, that's fierce. That's fierce. That's a good curse. You'll never be queen, honey. I got the crown. You'll never be queen. Okay, so we'll wrap this up. But in the original 90s, so Crystal is very true to the manga, so I assume that this is very much like how the manga has the story. But in the 90s, the show, it was a vanity thing where she was she thought no one would be her friend or like her if she got old. So she put herself in the mirror as a way for eternal beauty and youth. And that's what it was. And then instead of like Sailor Moon, like, destroying her, she ends up giving her a second chance to be reborn and do things right. So it was actually like kind of like a more Disney ending sort of thing. Nehellenia takes the silver crystal from Sailor Moon, but before she can kill the other guardians or take over Earth, Usagi and Tuxedo Mask kiss, because let's be honest, folks, love conquers all. And then she becomes queen. Yeah. She does. Yeah, she becomes Queen Serenity, or Neo Queen Serenity. And
she gets a new chalice, doesn't she? Or it looks fancier, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
And then she releases powers instead of them always yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so we all find out they're princesses of their own planet.
Which once again, whatever, who cares? So yeah.
I thought it was it would go without say, when you assume I'm Sailor Jupiter, I'm the princess of Jupiter. I don't know.
Yes. So anyways, they break free of Nehellenia's nightmare and get the silver crystal back. Sailor Moon, yeah, you're right. So Sailor Moon and the other Sailor Guardians transforms into their princess forms. And and Luna, Artemis, and Diana are in their human forms, which I didn't like. I knew in the movies, like the original movies and stuff like that, human forms. So okay, if you have humans, I don't get it. Why are you a cat then? I don't understand. I feel like they should tell the story as to why they're cats if they have a human form.
Especially what's interesting is they're cats also in the Moon Kingdom as well. It would be different if it was just an Earth thing, to be your advisors, we need to be cats here on Earth. But it's no, in the future, everything, they're still cats. So
yes,
it's a bit interesting.
Anyways, I don't remember quite the rest, but Sailor, the power of love, Tuxedo Mask has his golden crystal and sends the power to Sailor Moon, transforming her into Eternal Sailor Moon, who destroys Nehellenia and her mirror, kind of returning Earth and Elysion to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But then all the other scouts become Eternal Scouts too, right?
I don't know if they do.
Because their outfits get all layered.
But do they? No, I know they get new powers because also
No,
they get
the
that like
end.
mini version of those sailors in front of them. They go inside them.
I'm going to look this up because I ain't got time for this crap. They did okay. I don't know if they become eternal, but they're looking pretty similar to Eternal Sailor Moon.
I don't think they're eternal.
They have the same layered skirts, which looks ugly AF. Like, actually, Saturn's okay. You know what? The Elder Century. I don't like this. This looks ugly. And even Eternal Sailor Moon. This is like a pride flag. Like, no, I don't. No.
Yeah,
Chippy Moon. The Chippy Moon looks okay. You know, you see, because you have to choose complementing colors. Okay, it's not going to do it. Like, I get the shading, but like, it doesn't work. I don't think the Elder Centuries pull it off. I think Saturn does, Pluto, and Chippy Moon. This I do not like. But yes, okay, they look very much eternal. I don't know if they're
maybe they do. Maybe they do become eternal.
And then their brooches become stars. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sailor Moon restores Earth and Elysion to normal. And the Helios's cage. Oh, by the way, yeah, Pegasus was in a cage in Elysion. I should have mentioned that. But oh well. Anyways, he was in a cage, but now he's not because the cage just appeared. And Helios has returned to his human form, and Sailor Chippy Moon is able to revive him with her pink moon crystal, causing him to. Oh yeah, we're going to get into this. Doesn't matter. Subplot. Causing him to realize that she was the maiden in his vision.
Because that wasn't obvious enough to begin with.
Seriously. So oh yeah. So then kind of becomes like a coronation. So like they transform back to their princess forms, like everyone's back in their dress. Are they back in their dresses? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and then Neo Queen Serenity and King Endymion kind of have the coronation, I guess. Like that's what it looks like. And then Sailor Saturn appears saying, like asking Sailor Moon to restore the orbs that she saved from earlier, the Amazon Quartet. So she releases the Amazon Quartet, who reveals themselves to be Sailor Guardians of the asteroids, named Sailor Cirrus, Sailor Pallas, Sailor Juno, and Sailor Vesta, who were sleeping in the Amazon jungle until Nehellenia forced them to become evil and go into that nightmare. And that there will now go back to sleep, only to be reawakened when Sailor Chippy Moon becomes a full-fledged Sailor Guardian in the future. And then Helios escorts the like everyone back to the surface and promises Chippy-Usa that they will meet again. And then they share a kiss, which is, I don't remember how old she's supposed to be, but I'm gonna say she's under 10. How old is she? Or maybe she is 10.
Oh no.
Not that makes a difference. God, I don't know. But still, I
she's
think
actually thousands of years old though. Remember you find out in earlier seasons.
Okay, whatever.
No, but she stopped growing because that was the entire thing. It was like she was actually, I forget, she was like 3,000 years old. And they're like, she stopped growing.
She was 900 years old. Actually, now you want to talk about that. So yeah, so in the future, like Crystal Tokyo, people live to be thousands of years old. And they actually say 1,000 years old, and then they say that Sailor Chippy Moon is actually 900 years old. So only then does she start growing. So like, okay, so we don't really have 100 years of being an adult.
No, I don't think they died at 1,000. No, I think they live for thousands of years. And they're like,
will comment below, people.
I am pretty sure they live for thousands of years. Everyone's prospering.
She said the average age is 1,000. And they said, look at Chippy-Usa. You might think she's a child, but she's actually 900. It just, she hasn't grown for whatever reason. And then it's not until she became a Sailor Guardian that she's kind of started to age and become like older. But like even then she's still young. And yeah, what are you talking about? She's still in school too. So like, yeah, I can understand that too. Like she goes to school and like learns and plays with kids. So I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm just hoping that they do not delay the release of Sailor Stars or season 4 or 5, whatever you want to call it.
I guess it'll be season 5. They'll probably end up calling it.
Yeah, but I hope that comes sooner than later because it's like Yeah, like I feel like season 3 ended like like so many years ago where it's like I don't want to wait for I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. But
And
yes,
this is
I
the
don't
final arc too, I think.
it
Right? Yeah.
is.
It is
Yeah.
just stars that's left.
Yeah.
I have the manga and I need to just read it. I haven't read it, but I do have the full set and I think I need to just read it because I'm curious.
I have the season 1, right? The first graphic novel like manga.
Hmm.
But I get only part 1. I think there's like 2 or 3 parts to it. So
Mm.
I should probably get the other episodes. But anyways, after spending 3 hours of Sailor Moon, what do you think of this movie? Would you recommend it?
Not as a starting point, but I mean, like, if you're watching the series, yeah. I mean, I would say, which you prepared me with this too, don't watch movie 1 and 2 right after each other because it's too much, and which I didn't, which was good because it's like, yeah, after number the second movie is a lot better. It actually
Okay, I will actually say watch them back to back because if you only watch one, you're not going to go back to two because they're going to be like, one did not pull me in. I watched two because I'm like, I need to watch this because if I said I'm not, if I said it wasn't, if I said I was going to save it for later, it'd be like one was kind of a letdown. Part 1 was kind of a letdown. I'm not going to watch part 2. So, and the only reason you watch part 2 is because I told you to watch it. Or if I didn't, you'd probably be like, "Oh, I'll watch it later," and then you never would.
But
So,
if you've been watching the whole entire series, I don't think you're going to stop here. And I think to part 2 is good. And I think if you're exhausted, you're not going to think it's good. Because part 2 was cool, even when they do, yeah, they get a little bit more of the history and everything on the girls. Like, yeah, I don't know. But I did think they're good. Not as good as season 3. Season 3 was the best so far in Crystals. I enjoy Crystals though a lot. I think it cuts out a lot of the BS that we don't. That is good. I think like when I was younger, obviously I really enjoyed the original series, but I don't think I would have the patience for it nowadays to watch all those filler episodes.
yeah, I agree. Like, I don't have time for that episode of the week or villain of the week
Yeah.
thing. Um, yeah, I do like the condensed version. I think it tells a really tight story, and like yeah, like each season's like 13 episodes or something. So like it's a really
Mhm.
tight story. But I also find it like I don't know what their limits are when it comes to powers. It's like they just like fly, like which is cool, but it's like you can fly. So it's like it's like you can fly. Good for
Can
you.
they really fly
They
though?
are flying all the time. What are you talking about? Like, remember
Just jumping really high.
No, they're flying outside Uranus's apartment. Remember? And
Uh,
then and then even when they're fighting Pharaoh 90, like they're standing above it, like shooting their powers before they all kind of collapse. Like
mm,
they can fly. And it's fine.
okay.
That's fine. Good for them. It's fine. But yes, I did enjoy it. And I do think that you should like people should watch like from 1 to the movies. I think Crystal
Which
is
like came on Netflix now.
wow.
I was annoyed first when the movies came and the series didn't. I'm like, why would you not have it all? But they do have it all now. I don't know when they got it, but yeah, it's
It
all
was a
there.
couple weeks later. Yeah, I saw that too. I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like they should have got that a couple weeks earlier, got people set up for the movie, but whatever.
in season 3, uh, they address Uranus or Haruka like her gender, where it's like they do it in such a way that's like it's so classy, where it's like it's not like a PSA or like
Yeah.
an awkward or disrespectful moment. It's just like does like she said something like, "Oh, does my sex matter that much to you?" Like she's
Yeah.
and then Neptune says that Uranus represents both male and female energy, and
Yeah.
is neither one or another. So
Mhm.
they're talking about non-binary,
Yeah.
and this is from the manga in the '90s. So they're talking about non-binary like before it was
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? So I think that was a really good show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
really well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your favorite Sailor Scout?
I think my favorite would probably be Saturn,
Hmm.
or Pluto, because I feel like those two are like the most mystic or like
Yeah.
they're the ones I want to know more about. Yeah, and their power seems cool. Yeah, and of course Silverman. Can't go wrong with that. What about
Mhm.
you?
Sailor Jupiter will always be my favorite, but I agree. I think I really like Sailor Saturn. Like she would be my
Yes.
close runner.
Also, everyone else. except for Saturn and Pluto, when they use their power. Oh wait, no, actually even Saturn. Everyone except for Pluto, like they'll say like Uranus world shaking or Jupiter coconut
Yeah.
cyclone. For Pluto, it's just she just says dead screen and then like uses her power or Chronos typhoon. Like she doesn't say Pluto.
Yeah.
And then Saturn, I'm pretty sure when she does the silent wall thing or whatever it's called, she does say Saturn, but maybe not. But anyways, definitely the outer senses, with the exception of those two, say they're planets, which is nice. Also, Pluto's not a planet, so I don't know what if we were to redo the series today, we would probably run into a lot of trouble. But it was a planet back then, folks. It was. It really was. Yes. But
Yeah.
oh, and also but also like a Chippy Moon's guardians are asteroids, so I guess anyone or anything can represent guardian power, which is good. So good for them. Okay, so do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to say before we end the episode?
No, I think that's it. Although it's making me want to play that that RPG game again.
Sailor Moon, another story.
So good.
So good. Everyone should go play it once. It is really good. So thanks everyone, and please like, subscribe, or don't. I don't care. I don't need your views. And if you didn't know Sailor Moon Eternal Part 1 and 2, now you know.